Hi, Ruth. Thank you
Hello.
for joining me.
Hello.
My name is Catarina. I'm from CARAS Brasil,
Hello.
and it's really nice to talk to you.
You too.
Okay, let's get started. In the series, you play a well-known journalist, Emily Maitlis, and I would like to know how the preparation process was for you, especially considering the real-life impact of this interview.
It was fascinating. I'd never played a public figure before, so it required a bit more sort of technical work. Like I had to work on her voice and her mannerisms. And, because we were using a lot of verbatim interviews, it meant that they were publicly known, those interviews. She's just
Yeah.
not, the interview itself is known. So there's a expectation to sort of match some of that stuff and match in some way her essence and her mannerisms and her voice. So that was something I was really interested in doing, and it was a challenge I'd never done before. So I loved doing that. It just took endless repetition and practice and training your voice to go a bit deeper and walking in a certain way. And so that all just took lots of practice and time. And the other thing, Emily, I had an enormous amount of access to Emily because she produced this. So that was a massive gift because I could go and watch her at work. I could interview her. I could ask her the questions about the interview itself and every moment of the interview. And watching her at work was actually the kind of most illuminating for me because, you're seeing behind the scenes. So you're seeing that she wears her hair rollers in her hair,
Hmm.
she goes
Yeah.
on, that she eats sweets all the time. You're seeing that she's constantly on phones and listening to about 4 different things at the same time. So it made me go, right, she's an adrenaline junkie. She sort of lives off coffee and sweets and lives on a high wire the whole time. And when she needs to be on and focused, it all sort of focuses down and it's direct and it's intense and she's extraordinary at her job. So I loved the fact that I could see both sides of that in her
Yes.
character and I could play and offer that to the audience for the first time, is that we're seeing behind the scenes and seeing Emily at home. But the hard thing about also having her there as a producer was that you had to be sensitive around certain things, and she was very conscious of certain areas that she was nervous about and how she was
Hmm.
being portrayed or how her colleagues were being portrayed or about. So there was often a little dance around that. You couldn't be completely inventive.
Hmm.
We had we had to sort of carefully dance around her sensitivities, and rightly so, but
Yeah.
it meant that it was a little bit more delicate sometimes. But I loved playing her. I absolutely adored it.
Yeah, it's so nice. It's so nice that you could talk to her too.
Oh,
It's
amazing.
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 Yeah. I really like to know, for you, what was the most tense or crucial moment of Prince Andrew's interview portrayed in the series?
I think when he says, I mean, we do sort of dramatize it, but when he says towards the end, well, the shooting weekend was the first moment I thought, okay, Emily's sort of like, what? He's got this wrong. And then
Mhm.
it's when he doesn't apologize, really. And she
Oh, yes.
giving him outs. She's sort of lining him up to answer in a way that would get him out of deep trouble or would at least make him sort of sympathetic, or she's giving him so many leads. She's sort of trying to guide him and he just doesn't take it. He doesn't take the bait and
Yes.
he refuses to. I think what I found most fascinating doing it was that information about the Pizza Express and the sweating, that it didn't happen inside the interview itself. It
Mhm.
was added on at the request of Prince Andrew and his team. I didn't realize that because, of course, it was
Yes.
edited in, because they're the things that became what everyone talks about. And they're the
Mhm.
things that felt most implausible or most ridiculous. But he insisted on them and he thought they were great alibis. So that, for me, was the biggest piece of new information as an actor, as someone coming to the story.
A very royal scandal touched on extremely delicate points, yes, we know. And how do you see the role of entertainment in portraying real life stories that are so complex and controversial like this one?
Well, I think drama can sort of sometimes highlight and draw attention to things that, a documentary can't. It can make you connect with the characters
Mhm.
in a deeper way. I mean, it's always interesting, isn't it? Because I sort of think of course, in this show, the whole royal side is speculative. It's all imagined. So we don't really know what happened behind closed doors. But that's the responsibility of Jeremy and Michael playing that role, and all those actors playing that role, is that you're sort of trying to make it as human as possible and as real as possible. You're trying to sort of dance around all those things and make the audience question and challenge perhaps their initial perceptions or their ingrained biases. You know, that's what drama is doing. For me, the best thing about drama and why I do this job is to challenge, is to make people feel, is to make people question, to, you know, give them entertain them, but layer those things in. So I think that's what drama has the power to do.
Right, thank you. We have just 2 minutes more. I will ask you a last question. As a woman, did you feel personally connected to Emily's story, especially in portraying her courage when confronting a figure like Prince Benjo at such critical moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think that sometimes you sort of, I think she's an extraordinary woman, Emily, and in a very male-dominated world, you know, she is a woman in that environment, and interviewing Andrew would instantly become a target by the press in this country and by people in this country.
Yeah.
So to put herself out there and to consistently put herself out there and ask difficult questions and not to pander to power, I think it shows an extraordinary sense of character and of strength and courage, and why she's such a brilliant journalist. You know, and I sort of, so I don't know if I empathize with her. I kind of respect her extraordinarily. You know, I have a huge amount of respect for her. That's not easy to do, and it's not easy to hold that line and hold those questions. And she interviewed him like it was a court case. She held the case, and that's an extraordinary thing to do with a royal, someone that we're all supposed to sort of bend on one knee to and curtsy to. So no, I have enormous respect for her.